Welcome everyone back to the Reading Writing Corner. I'm your host Leanne, and if this is your first time here, pull up a seat, sit down, and we're going to talk about non-spoiler review part of this video for Pendragon, Merchant of Death. And if you've been here before, well, you know the drill. This is The Merchant of Death by DJ McHale, and the Pendragon is the series name. It's part of this, yeah, so it's a series, a 10-book series. But yes, Pendragon. Now about the series. Bobby Pendragon thought he was an ordinary young teen that had a good life, played basketball, wonderful, he was great at it, and he had a crush on the cutest girl ever that liked him back. Until Uncle Press changed his life one day, and nothing has been the same since. What made me read this book? Going to another world to save it seemed like an interesting read. It was. So, the blurb. Bobby Pendragon is a seemingly normal 14-year-old boy. He has a family, a home, and even Marley, his beloved dog. But there is something very special about Bobby. He is going to save the world. And not just Earth as we know it. Bobby is slowly starting to realize that life in the cosmos isn't quite what he thought it was. And before he can object, he is swept off to an alternate dimension known as Dendera. A territory inhabited by strange beings, ruled by a magical tyrant, and plagued by dangerous revolution. If Bobby wants to see his family again, he's going to have to accept his role as savior, and accept it wholeheartedly, because as he's about to discover, Dendera is only the beginning. Dun dun dun! Bobby is about to bring home the championship for his basketball team when the girl he has a crush on tells him that she feels the same. Now he's on cloud 9. He goes with his Uncle Press on what he thought would be a quick trip to help some people before the game. But that's not what happens. What happens after changes his life forever. The setup of Bobby took a little while, and some impressive characters, even though some of them were never really officially set up very well. The motives were like clear from the beginning of the meeting them. Especially Uncle Press, he's like, you gotta save the world. Bobby's like, I really don't care about the world. I just want to go back home. And those are the only two I'm gonna really spoil it for you. The characters react to the situations they get into in a way I imagine they would, because I do not know how I would react to going to a world that is not Earth and being told I got to save it. What? Yeah, no. I don't know how I would react like that. Maybe the same way Bobby did. Going, oh, I can't do this. I need to go home. I'm not the type of person you think I am. The genre is considered to be young adult fantasy. Did this live up to my expectations? Yes, it was an interesting read, especially the way the narrative was set up. And we'll get into that in the spoiler section. Which character did I relate to the most? Mark. A geek will always relate to a geek. Which secondary character stood out the most? Courtney. She's a tough girl that adjusts and adapts to everything that was thrown at her by Mark and Bobby. What was more important, the characters or the plot? The characters for most of the book, and then it flops to the plot. The plot. If I can even talk. It had multiple voices and point of views, and it did not affect my rating. It should have, but it didn't. Which is awesome. Should you go and read the series? Yes, if you like adventure and life and death situations in alternate universes. You should go ahead and read it. So, before you vamoose away from this video because you do not want to be spoiled, leave a drop. Leave a comment, your subscription, or even a lovely like. It helps out the channel, I promise. Bye. Before we get into the characters, we should go over some lingo in the spoiler section of the review, and if you haven't left yet, you're about to be spoiled. The first word is territory. It is another planet that could be similar to Earth in another universe. Traveler. Those that can travel between different territories. Flumes, the way travelers travel between territories. All you need to do is find one behind a door with a star on it and say the name of the territory you wish to visit. And then you're whisked off. Second Earth. the place that Bobby is actually born on, not first Earth, not just Earth, second Earth. Denduron, the planet or territory that Bobby first visits in this book. You have also mentioned Zada and Coral. Zada is a territory in which Lore and Osa are from, and Coral is a place I don't know who's from. But that's just another place, another territory. And you learn what it is all over encompassing. Hala is everything within the vast universe that holds everything together. You're going to hear the word Milago. It is one tribe of people on Denduron. And then you had the Bidowan, which is the conflicting tribe of people on Denduron, because Milago and Bidowan are having a confliction. Reason for the revolution. Now, in this book, you meet the main characters, side characters, and important reading characters. Because yes, there are more important reading characters that go throughout the whole series. The first person you meet is Bobby Pendragon. He is 14 years old from Second Earth. He is a traveler, but he didn't know it at first. He travels to a strange new world called Denduron because of his uncle Press. He works to outsmart the Saint Dane throughout and saves the territory. Saint Dane is an evil traveler capable of shapeshifting. His goal is to bring chaos to Hala to rebuild it for himself. Saint Dane makes himself an important position every territory he goes to, so he can create war and chaos on the inside, feeding information and causing wars in all territories. In Denduron, he is called Malos, the advisor to the Queen, and he also takes on the form of someone named Figgis. You'll find out more about him later. Press Tilton is Bobby's uncle that is not his actual uncle. It's just a traveler that comes from Second Earth as well, and knew Bobby was going to be a traveler. He's an experienced traveler who helps Bobby learn as he becomes one. All the Milgo on Denduron look up to him, and he will always fight for the good of the things, and he follows the rules of the territories. Mark de Monde, Bobby's best friend from Second Earth, described as a science nerd and intelligent. He is the one Bobby sends all of his records to, which he's in while he's in other territories. So yeah, basically they're journals. You're reading journals in this, and Mark is the one who's reading the journals, and you're reading them from Mark's perspective, I guess, but through Bobby's point of view. He teams up with Courtney to help their friend. Courtney Chetwind, Bobby's love of his life. She likes him back. She excels at sports and is very tough. She teams up with Mark Demon to read about the stuff to help Bobby out whenever they can. Lore is a traveler from Zada. Lore travels to Denduron with her adopted mother Osa to help stop Saint Dane. She didn't know Osa was her mother until they're about to go to Denduron. She shuns Bobby at first because Bobby's not a warrior and he's just thinking about himself, and then he causes her mother's death. But she later realizes that Bobby is heroic in his own ways and warms up to him and forgives him. Osa was Lore's adopted mother. She was the one to tell Bobby to send the letters, journals, to his friends back on Second Earth. She dies with arrows throughout her whole body, trying to protect Bobby and Lore. Alder is a traveler from Denduron. He has nobody to teach him anything because I don't know who else is on Denduron, but he's young, just like Lore and Bobby. They're all about the same age. Don't know where his experienced traveler is, but he is actually trained Bidowan Knight, but he is concerned about the Milago, and he helps the rest of the travelers whenever he can to stop chaos from happening on his planet. Kagan, the queen of the Bidowan, it was a fault of Kagan, after she murdered her mother, there was actually going to be their father. There was actually going to be peace between them. She made the Malgo tribe her slaves and made them do everything, but that was because she was heavily influenced by the Saint Dane, who wanted to make both sides hate each other. And then he was, trying to make the Malgo revolt. She is an extremely obese person because she's eating all the time. Like, all the time. And a big crybaby. Relian, the leader of the Malgo miners and the leader of the revolution, was trying to help save all his people. And it's Yeah, it's tragic because like people die in it a lot. Like people in the mines die because there's a poisonous gas that goes around. He has to watch as someone's white husband is thrown into a pit that kills them all because they didn't have enough. Well, all because malice found an impure something or another. What was it called? Glaze. The glaze. He found an impure glaze in the mix, and it was the heaviest one, which was just a lie, just so he could kill somebody to show them that they can't rebel against him, even though they do eventually. And then you have Figgis. He was a mysterious merchant. The real Figgis died many years ago because he was sneaky and always trying to sell any item he had. He had found explosive tack underneath the Bedouins' lands and was trying to protect it with traps, but one of the traps backfired and it killed him instead. So Saint Dane transformed into Figgis, who sells tack to the Milagos because he wanted to use it to destroy a lot of stuff. Actually, Mark and Lore destroy all the tack that's underneath the Bedouins in the mines, underneath the Bedouins' castle territory, wherever tribe, wherever they live, so they can't use it anymore, which is a good thing because now they can't use explosives to destroy stuff. There are two POVs within this story, and it's a little confusing. So the first one, like I said, is focused on Bobby, and it's actually first person point of view because he says I and everything like that. And then you have where it flips to Second Earth. As you can see, it's slightly different writing. It's actually different writing too. So like this is the print and everything for Bobby's journals, and this is the print and everything for Second Earth. And basically, Second Earth, it's just a focus on Mark, and everything they do on Second Earth while Bobby is in Denduron, including the fact that they find the journals and read them. So there's that. It's a weird way of storytelling because it's a flip-flop. You got first person and you got third person, and it focuses on two different main characters, but it all happens within a relatively the same timeline. So my favorite character was Mark. He adapted to what was happening to his best friend rather quickly. He's like, okay, this is happening. I've got to believe it. I'm going to do everything I can to support him. My most disliked character was Saint Dane. His whole goal is to remake Hala into what he wants it to be for him to rule over. And thus he is trying to destroy all the territories, throw them into chaos and darkness. It's terrible. It was told in chronological order with conflicting timelines that the territories do not line up together. Like, Bobby disappears one day, and then the next day, Mark gets, that night, Mark gets a ring, and then the next day, he gets the first journal, and the journal encompasses, like, several days of what's happening. And then 1 minute, Bobby's there going, hey guys, I'm here on Second Earth. Give me the stuff. And then as soon as he leaves, another journal arrives saying, hey guys, lots of stuff happened since I last saw you. So it's, it doesn't all line up in the same way. Days and times are not the same because they're in different timelines. But it's still happening relatively at the same time. So the different timelines are still happening at the same time, they're just not at the same time, I guess. I don't know. It's really confusing. Okay, just read the book, you'll understand. It has appropriate language for the genre that is within, since it's for young teen, and it's mystery, I mean fantasy, whatever did I call it? What did I call it? I don't remember. Anyways, it's young adult. It doesn't have a lot of bad words or bad stuff going on in it, although some people are dying in it. So there's that. The foreshadowing is quick to resolve, so it does have some foreshadowing but it's quick to resolve it all. The suspense is built up well, leaving you wanting to finish reading to see what happened, especially when you switch from I'm gonna go save my Uncle Press, and then they're like back in the real world, and a second or then you're like, what the hell? I wanted to know how he was gonna go save Uncle Press. You know? Good tension there. The title of the book meant Saint Dane as Fig selling sack and explosive powder to the Malago in order to sell chaos in Massachusetts, because it's called the Merchant of Death. So that was referring to Figgis, aka Saint Dane, because Figgis was selling tack, which could kill because it's explosive and it's very volatile. Like a single grain of it dropped on the ground goes boom, and bigger, more of it gives more explosions. So yes, it's big. The cover of the book is a drawing of what Bobby Pendragon looks like, and a door in the background of a subway station with a star on it and light coming out through the cracked door with words. So there's that. What stood out as memorable was the travelers are forbidden from bringing items from their home worlds and to use them in the territory they travel to in order to protect the world. So you could not bring, say, a flashlight to another world that doesn't have flashlights, because then you just influencing the world, and you're not supposed to influence the way they develop or anything like that. You're supposed to not. So you have to use all the stuff that's in their world instead of bringing stuff from your world, so you don't influence the way their world works. My favorite passage from the story is that the territory of Denduran would fall into chaos and Malos's evil mission would be complete. That is, unless I did something to stop it. I knew exactly what I had to do. I was scared out of my mind, but still, I knew what had to be done. So this is towards the end of the book where he's like trying to stop Malos's evil plot while also revolutionizing everything. And he sets himself up with the worst task, but it's the only task that he can officially accomplish, because all the other tasks that he gives out to Lore and to Uncle Press are ones that only they can perform, that he can't. So he's like, this is what I have to do, and I gotta be brave, and I've gotta do it. Even though it risks ending my own life, I've still got to do it. So I like that he stands up for and actually does something even though he's terrified. My favorite quote by Osa. Hala is in your hands. Remember that. Let it be your guide. Together you two will probably save Hala, is what she was trying to say, but it cuts off because Osa caught her breath, gave a little shudder, and closed her eyes. They would never open again. So she was trying to give them faith, hope, and that they would be able to save Hala before she died of her wounds. What I thought about the end of the book was sad and, of course, exciting at the same time. Bobby learned that his family was only there to raise him into the teen that he became. After that, they disappeared because their job was done. That includes his little sister, his mother, his father, and his dog Marley. But he'll be able to see them again one day. And the only way to do that is to save all the territories and Hala from St. Dane first. Bobby got to stay friends with Mark and Courtney and send him journals. But what makes it exciting is that immediately he goes on to the next adventure in Coral, which you get a little sneak peek of Coral in the back. It's just the first chapter, which I didn't read. Or it's the first two chapters. And I didn't read neither of them. But yeah, see Coral, where they go to next, which is a world. You can get a sneak peek of it. But The Lost City Afar is the name of the book too. I didn't read it because technically I've already read it, but I'm going to read it again because I don't remember anything that happens in The Lost City Afar. What book did it remind me of? The Talisman by Stephen King. Jack and Bobby both travel to a different territory, even if it's for different reasons. They both travel to a different territory. One they didn't know existed. And didn't think they were up to the task that they were set to do. They both complete it. So that's what it reminds me of. And there's so many more of them out. I'm happy. This book, as you know, is part of a series called Pendragon, and it has 10 books in it, plus a book on Hala. So there's a lot to go through for Hala and a lot to learn. and a lot of chances for Bobby and Lore to grow up and develop more. I rate this a 4 out of 5 stars. Only because I don't know, really. I say because, but I don't really know why I'm rating it a 4. I just know it's not a 5-star read. I mean, it's a good book. It's exciting. I like the premise. I like the way it's done. I guess I don't know. I don't like the way the fact that they don't really have family. I guess that's what it is, because Bobby's family wasn't really his family. Just like Osa wasn't really Lore's mother. Like, how are they born? Why are they born? What is their purpose? What is the purpose of them being born without actual having family members? Like, are they always destined to be alone and only work with other travelers? I think that's what it is. So, if you think I deserve a like, comment, or even a lovely subscription, drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.